g'day. Looks like I am back again. It's been over 18 months since I've streamed. Pretty excited to get back into it. Should be pretty good. Look, wasn't sure on what I wanted to actually stream when I decided to start up again. But after a little bit of thought, I really pretty much decided I'm going to return to Sekiro. I haven't finished the playthrough yet, and I don't like leaving things half finished. So, without further ado, we're going to get back into it, and I'm going to be totally lost for probably the next 5 to 10 minutes as I remember what I need to do. So, let's get stuck in. Alrighty, so let's do this. So, let me have a think about where we left off. Pretty sure in this particular playthrough we've just defeated Lord Genichiro. We've saved the young lord, whose name eludes me because, bear with me, it's been about 18 months since I played. And I believe the next step is to travel to the Sunken Valley and defeat the Guardian Ape. So, let's get stuck in. As you can see, I still haven't really upgraded my character that much. This is very much meant to be just a skill run where I rely solely on my memory and making sure that I can kind of time all of the parries the way they should be. It's not a Demon Bell Kuro's Amulet run. That might come later, maybe. But for the time being, we're going to get stuck in and we're going to have a chat with Emma. And we're going to have a chat with Lord Kuro. And then he's going to send us on our merry way to the Sunken Valley. So we're going to get stuck into this. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to kill all the headless this run, but we'll see how we go after that. Like I said, going to be super rusty for probably the next 20 minutes. Expect me to die a whole bunch. Either way, let's go. So, as you recall from the last one, I defeated Lord Genichiro at the top of the castle. He had his demise with the lightning, and after that, Emma is waiting for us here, so let's have a chat. So, the reason I've been away is life just sort of got ahead of me, but I'm happy to be back. Let's enjoy a little bit of the story as we continue into this.
何故助けを命じられたのだ。一心様は流因の力を望んでおられません。ゆえに黒様足内を逃がそうとした。はい。井戸底への踏み。あれもお主か。
I only had to upgrade OBS and remember the password to my YouTube channel.
あなたには まず会うべきお方がいるはずです。黒様は海外に。
Run some more tests to make sure my microphone was working and the sound was working, and well, yeah, short of just reinstalling everything, I had to do that. So let's get stuck into this. Just give me 1 second. Just gotta check something. Alright, I think that's fine. Alright, cool. Let's go. This should be pretty fun. So let's go down and have a chat with Lord Kuro and stop by the Sculptor's Idol. And my memory is slowly actually coming back for all of this. Although, do expect me to recall Gandalf's famous words, I have no memory of this place because it's been a really long time since I played this particular game. Alright, let's have a look.
お迎えに参上いたしました。我が主。
よく来てくれた。
参りましょう。足名を脱さねばなりませぬ。
狼よ。我が血は、流因は人を死なぬようにする。そなたもそうだな。
はい。
私はそなたを救いたかった。時を戻せたとて、きっ と同じことをするだろう。だがな、死なぬというのはよどみを生む。不死のちぎりも落ち水も流害も皆そうだ。人としての生き方を歪めてしまう。私は流因の不死が生むよどみの連鎖を断ち切りたい。狼よ、それを手伝ってはくれぬか。
Now, if I remember correctly, I am doing the dragon purification ending, but I'm pretty sure I can't just help Kuro in this particular instance, so we're just going to obey the Iron Code to protect him.
できません。巫女様をお守りすること、それが我が父より課せられし掟なれば。
そなたは私を救うため幾度死に、そしてよみがえってくれた。2度か3度か、あるいは数えきれぬほどなのか。
巫女様をお守りするためならば幾度でも。
そなたを不死の永劫の任に縛りたくはないのだ。狼よ、共に不死立ちをなしてくれ。
御意。
ありがとう、狼よ。
It really does ask some interesting questions about immortality, stagnation, and whether or not you can even grow, depending if you have such a long immortality. It's an interesting philosophical conundrum. In this sort of universe, I guess, the immortality does come with its costs. The blood of the dragon leads to dragon rot, and depending on how you play through, the dragon rot can actually spread through all of the NPCs. So there's this interesting theory that has been floating around that the Scarlet Rot from Elden Ring was actually one of the goals that was supposed to be added to Sekiro, and it just didn't happen. You didn't have that tangible sort of effect to the Dragon Rot. In this, depending on how you play, the only real sort of problem the Dragon Rot presents is you can't talk to NPCs, which can be a problem with some of the quest lines that you get access to. So I'm just going to have another chat with Kuro again.
不死立ちについてだが、根拠のない話ではないのだ。狼よ、これを。このアシナの城に残されていた古い記録だ。
宣教の神なる竜の涙。
ああ、その竜の涙というものがあれば、おそらく我が竜院を断つことができる。
しかし宣教とは一体。
狼よ、そこにある香炉を見てくれ。とあるお方がお持ちだったものだ。
And now the plot thickens a bit as it turns out that Kuro and Sekiro are not the only ones to have begun with the immortality. So
この香炉は
かつてこのアシナの城には私とは別の竜院の巫女が暮らされていたと聞く。巫女の名はタケル様。この香炉はその方にゆかりのものだ。
そのお方は今は
亡くなられて久しいようだ。源の好機まといて宣教へ帰る、そう言い残されたとか。
つまり源の好機、それが宣教に行き着く鍵ということ。
おそらくは。狼よ、まずはそれを解き明かそう。
So, the plot thickens. The way to get to the Divine Realm is through the Fountainhead, and he's going to explain how we can accomplish that in just a second.
して、いかにして調べるか。この城にはタケル様が残された書物がある。宣教に帰る術を求め集められたものだろう。私はそちらを探ってみよう。
宣教への生き方のみでなく、不死立ち、それ自体についても探っては。
おお、ならば一心様だな。あのお方ならば何かご存知やもしれぬ。 狼、こちらじゃ。
So now we go talk to Ishin, who, if you remember from the very start, he was the general in the cinematic at the very beginning.
一心様はこの天守の外、離れの櫓で静養されておいでだ。ただその離れは閉ざされている。少しお加減がな。
入る術は
屋根上にヨタカの衆が通う道がある。忍びが使う道だが、そなたならばたどれるのではないか。
ヨタカの衆は目印にのろしを使うとか。
ああ、ヨタカののろしをたどれば一心様の離れまで行けるだろう。こちらの開き窓から屋根上に出られるぞ。
And so we unlock another shortcut. Hoorah. Now I just got to remember how to get to Ishin again. If I remember correctly, he should be over here. Here we go. Here he is. Let's have a chat.
巫女様の命にて。おう、伺いたいことが。その前に先じゃ。褒美にとっとけ。
As can be found in especially this sort of period Japanese culture, sake is obviously everywhere, and many of the Uji-sans are very fond of it.
落ち水に見入られた我が孫源一郎、よくあれを止めてくれた。礼を言うぞ。我が父の掟に従ったまで。忍びの掟か。なるほど。お主フクロウのせがれか。あの国取り戦で拾われたわらしよな。は、巡ってここに至るか。人の絵にしてはつくづく面白い。そうは思わぬかのう、赤色よ。あなたはしてそのお主が何を知りたい。
So now we have a chat with him. We do have the option of giving him drinks. There are, I think, 4 different types of drinks that you can give him during the course of the story. So we'll go to Immortal
巫女
Severance.
様の目指す不死立ち、その鍵となるもの。不思議り、不思議りならば、あるいは鍵となるやもしれん。不思議り、尋常な術では死なぬ者すら殺す。それゆえに死なぬ者とは、虫つきとか言ったかのう。わしも見たことはないが、真の像を貫こうが首を落とそうが死なぬというぞ。まことであれば恐るべきことよな。そういった化け物すら殺す。それが不思議りよ。不思議りはいずこに。仙宝寺にあると聞く。ただ不思議りは抜けぬというぞ。抜けぬとは。ただそう伝わっておるのよ。だが今やあの寺は門を閉ざしておる。生草どもめ、お山にこもり何をしておるかは知らぬが、まともな道などつながっておらぬのよ。
Okay, so if I played through this the way that I normally do, I've already been to the temple. I think I have. Which means we can access the Mortal Blade now. And funnily enough, I named this episode Monkey Madness for a reason. Not only will we be facing the Guardian Ape, hopefully, there is a second boss. It's kind of a gimmick boss, but it is pretty fun. So we'll probably head to Senpou Temple first and pick that one up. So we'll head there first.
Sekiro. 不死立ち。それもまた戦よ。そして戦では関わる者の願いやら企てやらが渦を巻きおる。迷えばその渦に飲まれ戦に敗れる。そうじゃ。肝に銘じておくがいい。赤炉よ。迷えば破れるぞ。
Hey, he almost said the line. Alright, so we've had a chat with Ishin now. He's told us that we need the Mortal Blade. Kind of important to destroy the Immortal. And he's also told us about the Immortal Severance. So what we're going to do is we're going to head back up and have a chat with Kuro and Emma. We'll proceed from there. Where are we? There we go. Alright, let's have a chat. Boy's coughing a bit, and it's a pretty funny reason, but what we'll do first is we'll check this out. Found something, he's opened the library. So then we'll have a quick chat with Emma.
一心様とも会われたようですね。
礼を言われた。源一郎殿を切ったことへ。
そうですか。源一郎殿、まさか落ちの檻を飲まれているとは。
それは何だ。
落ち水の中でも特に濃いものをそう呼びます。あなたもご覧になったでしょう。落ちの檻を口にした者は当然に死んでいるはずの斬撃に耐えるほど強靭な肉体に変貌する。あれはもともとは我が師道元が調べていたもの。調べた書も薬も焼いて捨てたと聞いていましたが、私の兄弟子たちの誰かが持ち出していたようですね。大方道中あたりか。九郎様のお考えについては。
聞いた。
して
共に不死立ちを果たそうと思う。
そうですか。
今までの助け、かたじけない。
まるで根性の別れのよう。私は主の命も果たしましたので、この城に残ります。いつでもお声掛けください。薬師として助けとなりましょう。
Okay, so I'm not entirely sure if I have any gourd seeds. No, I don't. So this is an interesting point. After discussing it with Emma and discussing how he's decided to sever the immortal ties, this is where the storyline branches at the start, sort of thing. So Emma is kind of important with getting the dragon purification ending. There is another pretty major split that happens soon, but we haven't reached that point yet. But this is the part where it starts teasing that there might be other options available. So we'll just continue talking to Emma and exhaust most of her dialogue.
かつてアシナに流害が広まったことがあったと言います。その時は治すことが叶わず、助かるものはなかったそうです。
そうか。
我が師道元の悔い、わずかでも晴らせたのならば良いのですが。狼殿、ほんの少し眉間のシワが薄うなったように思います。九郎様の不死立ち、どうか叶えて差し上げてください。狼
So if there's
殿、
anything else?
ほんの少
Nope,
し
that's the end of that
眉間
dialogue.
のシワが薄うなったように思います。
Alright,
九
so
郎様の不死立ち、どうか叶えて差し上げてください。
that means it's time to go and have a chat with Kuro and get the next part of the mission.
ではまた。
this way. Here he is.
誇りがひどいな。
戻りましてございます。
おお、戻ったか狼。一心様とは会えたか。
はい、不思議にならば鍵になりうるやもしれぬ。そう仰せでした。
不思議り。
仙宝寺にある死なぬ者を切る刀とか。
なるほど。確かに流因の不死を断つことへも関係しておるやもしれぬな。
御意。
私の方は源の後期の手がかりとなりそうな書物を漁っておいたぞ。どうやらタケル様が戦況に帰るため調べられていたものだ。見つけた手がかりについて話そう。
手がかりとは
花だな。
So, this is where we get a second regeneration, resurrection, basically. Both resurrections are essentially granted the more you defeat opponents.
巫女
Let's
様、
trigger this.
こちら。
これはもしや桜しずくか。
それは
流因の不死の契約がならざるとき引き換えに残るものという。
タケル様が残されたものでしょうか。
であろうな。狼よ、もし望むのならばこの桜しずくもまたそなたの力としよう。
ありがたく。
わかった。目を閉じてくれ。
は。
タケル様の流因もまたそなたと共に生きるのだ。
頂戴いたします。
うん。もう目を開けてよいぞ。
は。
And there we go. We have another additional resurrective power, which will come in handy when I begin to die repeatedly to probably mob units. Bosses I can handle. Random mob units that gank you, there's not much I can do about that.
それはタケル様にいただいたもの。大事にしてくれ。
御意。
Okay, so we ask about the flower.
まずはこれを。
A note from Kuro, written by Takeru, former heir of the dragon's heritage. It is said that relatives of Tomoe once gathered the fountainhead fragrance and arrived at the palace. You may find a key where the waters of rejuvenation converge in a deep pool, a white and deeply fragrant flower.
これは
タケル様が残されたものだ。戦況に帰るため源の後期について調べていたのだろう。この芦名を貫く源より流れいずる水。その水が濃く溜まった場所で咲く白い花について書かれている。どうやらそれが源の効の一つであるようだ。
源の水が濃く溜まった場所。深い渓谷などでしょうか。
なるほど。ならば落ち谷かもしれぬ。あの谷には源の水も流れ込んでおるはず。
その落ち谷はいずこに。
城の裏手の林を抜けた先にあるぞ。林の奥にある白蛇のお社。言葉の通りそこから落ちたところに落ち谷はある。まともな道はつながっておらぬがそなたならば行けるであろう。
Yep. So that's pretty much where it says that the Sunken Valley is, and that's one of our next destinations.
源の後期。その一つは源の水が濃く溜まった場所で咲く白い花だろう。
はい。落ち谷を探ってきます。
落ち谷は城の裏手の林を抜けた先にあるぞ。林の奥にある白言葉のまとも。そういえばそこにある人の形が書いてある扉じゃが。 一心様が忍びの抜け道と呼んでらっしゃった。どういったものか司祭はわからぬが、忍びの名がつくものだ。そなたならば使えるのではないか。
Now, I think I may have covered it in a previous stream, but the shinobi doors are kind of cool, and I wish there was actually more of them in the game. Let's see if there's anything else to talk about.
源の好機について突き止めねばならぬ。見つけた手がかりについて話そう。
Okay, so we're pretty much limited to the flower. I'm pretty sure we got the other item when we defeated the headless monk in Mibu Village, which is also one of my favorite bosses. Yes.
そういえ、そこにある一心同心。
Alright, so grab this. So the Gunfort Shrine Key. This actually gives us access to the Sunken Valley. And it is a fun place to travel, let me tell you. So this will be where I die. A lot. But the shinobi doors, actually we'll talk to Emma first again.
狼殿、よくぞ参られました。
See if she's got any extra dialogue.
狼殿、ほんの三毛
No,
黒
she does not. Alright, cool. So,
では、ま、
shinobi door, right here. So all you do is you hug it, which is nice. The door probably needed a hug. Sorry, had to. Alright, so as you can see, this secret door brings us back to the outskirts. And with it, the sculptor.
お前さんか。何の用だ。巫女様。お救いすることができた。わしにゃ関わり合いのない話だ。いや、礼を言う。少し目の影が薄くなったようじゃ。なんだと。それで何か用か。
So let's see if I have any new upgrades. Survey says yes. So grab 2 upgrades. There will be a stage where I farm a whole bunch of resources off screen. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is because, yeah, I don't want to bore you with the constant grind. Unless, you know, you'd like to see it. Alright, let's have a chat with him, see if there's anything else he can offer us.
わしが惚れるのは鬼仏だけじゃ。木の中に見える仏様がいつだって怒ってらっしゃる。見えたまま掘るよりないじゃろって。
I don't think he has any more
喉
dialogue.
が渇いた。茶でも飲みたいもんだな。
Alright,
で
so
はな、また久しくらいならかしてやろう。
So we just had a chat with the sculptor. We'll reset this section over here. And maybe somebody will spawn over in that section. If I remember correctly. Let's see. No, no Emma yet. Alright, so the monkey madness begins. We are heading back to the temple. Now, if you recall, because I got to this zone much earlier than you're supposed to and fought my way all the way up into the section, there was an old monk here. He is now gone. He gave us one of the pieces of, one of the items that we needed in order to start the dragon purification ritual. After Genichiro gets defeated, he disappears. You can actually find him at the very bottom in a pond. Might show you at some point after I finish this particular boss fight. This is a kind of a gimmick boss fight, but it's also kind of fun. to lose a couple of times? Let's do it. I will say this though, the map for this particular boss is beautiful.
So. 猿が3匹。1つは殻か。
So, we received the elusive hall bell, a five-pronged bell made of aged bronze. Can be used repeatedly. When rung, monkeys and wolves alike are returned to their initial states. However, a monkey caught in the folding screen will not escape, whether the bell is rung or not. So, as you can see, there are 4 monkeys to defeat. One can see really well, one can shout really loud, one can hear really well, and one is invisible. So there is kind of a trick to getting the first one, and it's actually really, really simple. So you spawn in, you take 2 steps forward, you turn around, and you attack. Boom. 1 down. So now you've got the 3 monkeys here, and you've got 4 different rooms. Each one is designed, ideally, to deal with one of the monkeys. So if you sprint forward, you talk to this guy, and he's got a bunch of lore regarding them.
そなたもこの元老に迷い込まれましたか。そして使命を持ち、ここを出たがっている。ああ、それならば屏風に書かれた猿たちを捕まえなされ。さすれば巫女様のお声がかかりましょうや。
Okay, so this lovely fella, he tells us all about what each of them are. So the purple kimono monkey.
紫着物の猿は見る猿です。目がよく、遠くまで見え、よく気がつく。尋常なら近づく前に姿を見られ、逃げられてしまうでしょう。ひどく臆病な猿ですゆえに。
And you've got the orange kimono monkey.
橙着物の猿は有猿です。目も耳も特に良いということはないのですが、人を見れば大騒ぎして猿たちは皆逃げてしまいます。あるいは人をからかっているのでしょうか。
And then you've got the green.
緑着物の猿は菊猿です。耳がよく、遠くまでよく聞こえ、よく気がつく。尋常なら近づく前に音に気づかれ、逃げられてしまうでしょう。ひどく臆病な猿ですゆえに。
So, as you can see, all 3 of the remaining monkeys have their strengths and their weaknesses, and many of the rooms around us are designed to provide us with an advantage to defeat them. Pretty simple stuff. The green monkey, though, has one of the more interesting sort of gimmicks, I suppose.
ああ、私は元老を出たいとは思いません。ここは大抵静かですし、ある意味仏様の悟りに近しい。 そんな風に感じるのです。ああ、そういえばかつてあなたと同じく使命ある者がおりました。しばらく猿たちを追いかけていたと思いますが、いつか静かになりました。そなたが猿たちを捕まえられるよう願っていますよ。
Okay, so we have 3 left. We've got 2 of them standing over there on the trunk. I believe the purple one is up there. He hasn't seen us yet. So let's do it. We'll ring the bell. And that poor monkey has been stumped for an easy kill. Oh. 2 down. Right, so the purple and the orange are over there, so let's chase them down. Now these ones are illusions produced by the purple monkey, so let's have a look, figure out where he's gone. So one thing you can do in this particular fight is you can set up the elusive bell, and you can ring it and reset the entire map with the previous screen monkeys already gone. So then you can chase them down. So this is where we explore the remaining rooms. So if you look in here, it's a pretty simple room, but you can open the door at the back. And what this does is it darkens the room, making it easy to hunt down the purple one that can see you. This way, there is a waterfall room, and this one is designed to defeat the monkey that can hear. Not hear, sorry, the monkey that can hear. If we go over to this one, have another bit of a dark room, but this is sort of designed for the invisible one. And finally, so, now that I've given the monkeys a chance to reset slightly, let's figure out where they've gone. Ow. So, as you can see, before I went over to this purple room, and you can't see. Number 3. So, we've only got the orange monkey left. Now, the orange monkey is probably one of the easier ones to defeat, because if you give him long enough, and he's not very good at seeing you or hearing you, he will just start wandering around the map. So you can use that to your advantage. So what we'll do find our way up here. Where are we? Okay, so as you can see, he's already started running over this way. We'll get nice and close, and he shouldn't see us coming. And that's 4. Nice and easy. all 4 monkeys are trapped in the foliage.
あの子たちはただ私を守ろうとしてくれただけ。なれどそれは叶わぬようです。目を閉じてください。奥の院にてお会いいたしましょう。
And now we have the Divine Child and her part of the Senpou Temple. And then we've just received another memory, which means we're going to get stronger again. And the Puppeteer Ninjutsu, which is really important for getting part of the Dragon Purification ending. You need to use the skill for that. But if you look all the way up top there, just behind here, the rest of the temple is located. So let's grab this memory and have a chat with the Divine Child. And then get the Mortal Blade. So we'll just enhance the attack power by confronting the memory of the screaming monkeys. The battle memory of an extraordinary foe. Although distant, recollection of such a memory provides sustenance for the wolf. In the halls of illusion lie on the threshold betwixt life and death. Departed souls of the divine children drift and sway, taking shelter in the monkeys of the temple. Such is why the divine child of the rejuvenation speaks of them as friends. We get a nice little boost to our attack power. So now we'll have a chat with the divine child and receive probably one of the most important items in the game.
何故参られたのですか。
不思議りを求めに。
抜けぬ刀とご存知か。
ああ。
抜けぬとは抜いて帰った者がおらぬということ。それでも試されるのですか。
抜こう。
そうですか。
And now we get a really, really cool cutscene.
覚悟が終わりならば改められよ。なぜ皆死を厭わぬのですか。
So the funny thing about Sekiro, has this nasty habit where he just can't die.
一体その右目、流因の呪いを受けているのですね。
不思議り。確かに。もらい受けた。
The Mortal Blade, an odachi capable of slaying the Undying. Its crimson blade will take the life of any who dares draw it. Without the power of resurrection, one could not hope to wield this weapon, which allows one to defeat even infested beings. The long concealed within Senpou Temple, the blade is inscribed with its true name, Gracious Gift of Tears. So, this is really quite important for the entire game, and why it's called the Gracious Gift of Tears will become very clear once we reach the Divine Realm. So now we'll have a chat with the Divine Child, who is very important for the Dragon Purification ending.
あなたは流因の巫女に仕えるお方なのですね。
あ
何故不思議りを求めるのですか。
戦況に竜の涙を手に入れ、不死立ちを果たすために。
なるほど。読んだことがあります。流因を断つ術があると。つまり巫女は流因を厭われておいでなのですね。
そうだ。
巡り合わせとは、いいなものですね。私は越智の巫女たちの一人、死なずの愚道者たちが作り上げた偽りの流因を持つものです。
巫女たちとは。
まともに育ったのは私だけ。他の皆はここに眠っています。
そうか。
不死を断つことが正しいのかは分かりません。なれど流因が人の生き方を歪める。それを憎むのは私も同じ。巫女の忍びよ、私もあなたの一女となりましょう。お手を。
なんだ。
北条を。
Rice. Rice that spilled from the hands of the child of rejuvenation gradually recovers vitality for a time. Even in falsehood, the power of the dragon's blood brings a bountiful harvest. Rice is precious. The flavor grows richer with each bite and is sure to raise one's spirits.
これは米か。
はい。お米は大事と存じます。噛めば噛むほど甘くなり、元気も出ましょう。
Okay, so we now have the Mortal Blade and we have Rice. Now, we do need to engage in a sequence with the Divine Child in order to trigger the Dragon Purification ending later, and it does require getting more rice, which means eating more rice, which, let's face it, is never a bad thing. So what we'll do is we'll see if there's any more dialogue options with the Divine Child, and then we'll move on to the Sunken Valley.
巫女の忍び
If
よ、
I can remember how to get
よ
there.
うこそおいでくださいました。
Okay, so if you recall, when years ago at this point I defeated Senpou Temple to begin with, and we spoke to the monk, and I was telling you about the item we received from him, the Holy Chapter Infested. Now this is important for the divine Dragon Purification ending. So by giving the Divine Child this, it begins the triggers to help us get to that ending.
受け取れ。
それは。
お主に渡してくれと頼まれた。
ありがとうございます。受け取ります。
どうした。
私はあの人たちをまだどうしようもなく憎んでいるのです。
And we can continue to request rice, which again is important for the questline. But we won't do this just at the moment. We are going to go and try and get to the Guardian Ape, because I'm planning on dying to him for at least half an hour before we get to the end of that boss fight. And then we'll come back and get some more rice. So.
すみません、巫女の忍びよ。お米がまだ実っておらぬのです。また北条の頃にお授けしましょう。
It's pretty funny, because the trigger for her to give you more rice is to eat the rice that you already have. Imagine that.
さようなあなたの行く末に豊かな実りのあらんことを。
But first, before we get to the Sunken Valley, we have to go through the gun fort. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Right, so we will commune. And then we will travel back to Kuro's room so that we can access the forest behind the castle and find our way to the gun fort. I think there might be one skill upgrade I need to get still. But we'll have a chat with Emma and Kuro first, because we triggered the Mortal Blade, which should give us extra dialogue options.
狼殿、よくぞ参られました。狼殿、本に
Apparently not with
ク
him.
ロ
Let's go have a chat with Kuro.
では。
狼。
Here we
そ
go.
の背中の刀はもしや。
不思議にございます。
それが死なぬ者を殺すという刀か。
はい、仙宝寺の越智の巫女より授かりました。
越智の巫女。
仙宝寺の者たちは僧を捨て死なずの探求に魅了されておりました。その末に生まれた偽りの流因を持つ者、それが越智の巫女たちです。
偽りの流因。そのようなものが。待て、巫女たちと言ったか。
はい、多くの越智の巫女が作られ、されど生き残ったのはただ一人にございます。
流因はやはり人のありようを歪めてしまうか。不死立ちなさねばな。
御意。
I just realized there is one detour I'm pretty sure I need to do before I head there. Let me just check. Oh no, I've already done the detour. Imagine that. So the loaded spear is actually really, well, if I'm being totally honest, it kind of trivializes the Guardian Ape fight, but, you know, at least I don't have to go and get it right now, as I already have it. Alright, so, let's see if there's any other dialogue.
戦況に至るための子集めも進んできたな。狼よ、引き続き頼むぞ。ああ、そうだ。そなた、香炉の残り川嗅いでみたか。
いいえ。
そうか。ならば後で嗅いでみるとよい。かすかだが、何やら香りが残っておるように思う。
So we'll go check that. And what we can do now is, I'm pretty sure if we hug the wall here, we can eavesdrop. So those eavesdrops are actually pretty important for the dragon purification ending. But let's go to the Sunken Valley. And hold on. That said, I do particularly enjoy this vantage point as it shows us everywhere we can go. So over that way is the path to Mimu Village and the temple. And over this way. I'm pretty sure that's where we started the game. And then over here we've got Lord Ishin's tower. Over here we have the river that we can actually swim in. And then we have the forest over that way, which leads to the Sunken Valley. See? I am remembering all this stuff now. Alright, let's head this way. Okay, so spear guy over there is much more annoying than the other dude, so let's just wait for him. And then we can head across the bridge and head to the Sunken Valley. Well, the gun fort. Alright. Let's drop down here. Crouch. Past here because there's a... Oh no, I've already done the pretty funny eavesdrop here. Okay. Now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head down to the forest and hopefully not get murderized by the monkeys that are here. Let's try and sneak past them. One more. Where are you? Okay. So if I remember correctly, there should be one of the ministry men up here. See if I can't get the drop on him. Oh no, it's not. It's Tengu. Have a chat.
Oh, Sekiro ka. これは。ナイフのネズミどもよ。こやつらはどこからでも入り込む。切ってもキリがないわ。時に赤狼極めたか。まだ足りぬわ。赤狼よ。さらにキリ。
So what Tengu is asking there is, have we maxed out any of our skills? The answer is, no, not yet. Will we? Probably. I definitely have enough skill points for it. Basically what happens is he gives you like the ultimate skill book at the end, which combines the masteries of a bunch of different ones. It is pretty cool, but for this particular playthrough I'm not trying to go too crazy with it. Just because I really want it to be a test of my memory, my skill. So, see if he's got anything else to say. No, he doesn't. So what we'll do is we'll grab a reset and then head toward the gun fort. Alright, so. Get a little bit of lore. Eel liver, a miraculous drug capable of banishing lightning, offered at the Yoshina clan altar. Greatly reduces the amount of damage received from lightning attacks, as well as the shock status abnormality. Lightning is a force of the gods. Eels, while small, are relatives of dragons. Even a god's force can be suppressed, though probably not for long. Alright, so we need to head down this path. Now, there is one detour I need to make first. It's over this way. If I remember correctly, go this way. And we come down here. So, if I remember correctly, we head left. We've got a gourd seed, I think, or a previd. It might be a previd. I think there's a gourd seed in the other direction. So let's head down this pathway. Am I going the right way? No, I had to go right, not left. Alright, alright, calm your phone, buddy. Is it that way? I have no memory of this place. Is it up? Is it? I think it's this way. Ow. Is it this way? It is this way. I was right. It's been a while. Where are we? We want to go this way. I think it's a previd this way. We'll hug the wall again because the wall needs hugs. Alright. Pretty sure that's the item I need. There is a headless fight over that way. I don't think there's any items of any importance. I don't have enough divine confetti to want to deal with it right now. I probably will stream it later, but it's not really a fight that I'm particularly interested in doing right now. So let's head down here. These guys are spawning. Yeah, prebate. Because I haven't done things the right order. Okay guys, thank you. Didn't need you anymore. Oh boy. So, there's a funny thing that takes place when you kind of do things out of sequence. The game likes to throw additional enemies at you. Super fun. Alright, let's head back. And toward the gun fort. Will I run through the gun fort with some speed? Maybe. Is it not one of my favorite areas in the game? Maybe. Alright. So, fun fact. You learn early in the game, around Lady Butterfly, that a shuriken or projectile causes double damage against enemies that are in the air. Conversely, if Sekiro is in the air and gets shot, you get double damage from that too. So it's an interesting sort of mechanic, and you'll see why I mentioned it very, very soon. Alright, let's go. No! Yeah, I should have seen that coming. I think there's a gourd seed. Is it shredded? It's been a while. I think it might be. No, you don't. Oh no, it's up that way. It's been a while since I played. Is it this way? Yeah, it is. Yeah. No, could you not? Please forget that I'm here. Here we are. A gourd seed right here. Yeah. Alright, I think this is yellow gunpowder? Yeah. Alright, let's wait for a second to have this guy calm down. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Alright, now he's kind of forgotten that I'm here. Yeah. Alright. Okay. Now let's see if I can remember where to go next. That way. That way? Is that where I came from? It's this way, yeah. Pretty sure there's a lizard around here somewhere too. Alright. Yep, there it is. There we go. Antidote powder. Not particularly useful in this particular area, but it will be pretty useful in an area coming up. Okay, got maybe about an hour to go. I'm getting closer to the Sunken Valley. And I have one of the more annoying bosses coming up. Alright, let's see. Where'd he go? Oh, she, sorry, she. The members of the Snake Clan are all female, if I remember correctly. So let's check. Oh, there you are, you're hiding there. Okay, so let's talk to the black cat over here.
落ち谷の鉄砲取りで噂以上よ。備えなきは無謀であったわ。
Well, the good news is I should still have enough time to get to the Guardian Ape.
先方寺の鐘が聞こえら。
Poor guy. I mean, he may have been our enemy, but yeah. Alright. Stop here. And next we've got a mini-boss on the way. One of the snake women. Let's see how I go. Alright. Geronimo! Stop, please. Alright, here we go. Ow. Ow. Oh, I gotta time that right. Excuse me. Ow. God damn it. Haha, yeah. Yeah. Well, that particular grab is actually parryable. It is. The timing is super tight for it though. Oof. I'm just watching the replay. Ouch. Alright, let's try that again. Please stop. Okay, here we go again. There we go. There we go. Space. There we go. Yeah. Oh, a second parry. Nice. Right. Let's keep moving. Where am I going? See? Told ya. It can be done. Just had to remember how to do it again. Alright, so this that you see all the way through there, that is the gun fort. And it is filled with guns. Surprise, surprise. And beyond that is the Sunken Valley. So I need to get through here, preferably with a bit of stealth. But the fun thing is, if you look down here, there's a bridge. And literally every single one of them is going to try and shoot me. And they, according to the law, never miss. And if you don't move quick enough, that is true. So let's do the bridge run. Ow. Oh no! was so close. I was so close. Alright, that's cool. I'll give them a second to calm down for a minute, and then I will slowly pick my way through the fort. Is there any important items in this section? There's a bit of yellow gunpowder. I think there might be some of the next ore level as well. Alright. So now we'll shinobi our way through this section. Take it nice and slow. Ow! Son of a bitch. Settled? We settled? We are. Okay. Alright. Ha. That's better. Alright. Where are we heading from here? Magnetite! Yeah, the next level up. Magnetic ore mined in Ashina. Base metal commonly used in prosthetic tool upgrades of intermediate or higher rank. Forging with magnetite produces a hard steel, a precious commodity in Ashina. Bedrock offerings up to this ore are constantly mined out, making it a rare one at that. Okay, so where are we going next? Pretty sure that way. Okay. Clear. This area is also pretty interesting because it's got mines, like everywhere. Okay, so I'm also going to have to pick up the, I think it's a prayer bead in this area as well. Okay. Okay. So we'll go stealth. So the mines kind of blend into the surroundings. Alert every single enemy in this zone. So let's figure out which way I have to go again. Alright, so you see those there? You can kind of see it. The textures are slightly different to everything around it. They are mines, and they hurt, and they alert everyone. Not a great combination of events. See if I remember what's up here. Oh, as you can see, there's mines literally everywhere. So we'll just stealth our way around them. Okay. I will say this is very, very satisfying to get a bit of vengeance from every enemy that was shooting at us. Okay, so let's have a look here. You're up there. Magnetite, which will make my farming a little bit easier later on. Swing over this way. See if we can't kill you. always useful. I think there's somebody over that way or underneath. But let's... Oh, you're over there. Oh, it's one of you. Oh boy. Okay. Run. Okay. Reset. Oof. I'm not sure if you saw that, but the silhouette, it was coming. Alright, so we are now just before the Sunken Valley. Sunken Valley? Down that way. But if I remember correctly, which way is it? It's this way. I'm pretty sure there's a prayer bead or a gourd seed this way. So, alley-oop. Okay, where is... Is it that way? I have no memory of this place. Okay. It's not further down. Pretty sure you can get up there somehow. Or is this the way back? No, no, you should be able to. Oh, no, no, wait. I'm getting ahead of myself. You can get something special down this way. I've just totally forgotten the order. So we'll head back. We'll beat the next boss. And then we will... Okay, I've got one gourd seed. I've got the remnants. How many prayer beads? 2. Oh no, wait. I'll beat the next boss. I'll grab the extra prayer bead. Then I'll head back, talk to Emma, get 2 different upgrades, and then I'll hit the Sunken Valley. Sounds like a plan. Next mini boss. Hello. Ow. And we actually pick up another really, really cool item here. Grab that, which is right here on the shrine. The large fan, which is useful for a second quest line. So that means we'll head back to the Senpou Temple at some point, and we'll pick that up. So grab that, grab some more scrap magnetite. Now, before I was like, hey, I have no memory of this place. That's because there is a hole right here in the shrine. And if you drop down this hole and sneak, there is a hidden pathway. That way over there. So grab this, more upgrade materials, and we'll head over this way, which leads us down and back into the cave. So now I think it's this way first. Nope. Not that way. Lesson learned. Alright. So we'll head back and maybe pick the right direction. Which is the right direction. Funny that. Okay. was the other way. Maybe it was this way. What did I miss? Missed something. Oh. Yeah, I should have worked that out. The old lizard boys over here. Oh, it's confetti. There's a Prebi down here. Alright, thanks guys. Not really interested. Oh no, it is. I think I'm in the right place. I think. Right. There it is. Alright. And we'll come back here in a minute and we'll head to the Sunken Valley. Sounds like a pretty good plan. And I've got about half an hour left of my stream. So we'll upgrade our physical attributes with 4 prayer beads. Loose prayer beads strung together in offering to a sculptor's idol. Increases maximum vitality and posture. A prayer bead necklace befits the strong. The Centipedes will seek out a leader, often changing names out of loyalty. Centipede chiefs are known as long arms for their large talon-like weapons. Excuse me. Alright, so we got a bit of an upgrade there. Now what we'll do is we'll travel back to Kuro's room and have a chat with Emma and get another God Seed upgrade. And then Sunken Valley, and probably dying a whole bunch to the Guardian Ape. Get a God Seed upgrade. Which is cool. So if there's any extra dialogue. There is not. Alright, now, if I remember correctly, if we stand on this side of the wall and hug it, no, we can't. I thought there was an eavesdrop at this point, but I don't. That mustn't be. Alright, let's head back and go to the Sunken. Yeah, we'll go to the Sunken Valley. And this is where we use the key that we picked up earlier. I've definitely remembered a whole bunch of stuff. Alright, so let's go through here. Okay, so our destination is over there. We have a lovely rickety bridge to cross. I wonder what will happen. And it's actually pretty important for the Dragon Purification ending. Anyway, let's go! Imagine my surprise. So we'll submerge. We will avoid said giant snake. Which, if you remember correctly from the very first episode, was the one that was chasing us earlier. So there are a couple of carp down here that we will want to beat at some point. But first, we need to get past the snake. Don't worry, we'll get our revenge on him very, very soon. Adamantite scrap. Adamantine ore with a dull silvery shine. Base material commonly used in advanced prosthetic tool upgrades. Adamantite can only be mined in the oldest parts of Ashina. Ancient rock and soil is said to attract the grace of gods, and perhaps lending this metal its supple strength. So let's get past this snake. As you can see, the snake has moved, but we can use these reeds to move around. So let's shoot this way. And this way. We will come back for the snake in a minute. The treasure cart scale. Alright. We made it. Hooray! Victory. We are now in a moment. Ooh, let's grab this. Welcome to the Sunken. Well, wait. Kind of jumped the gun there a second. Go this way. Keep going up. Yes. Welcome to the Sunken Valley. With monkeys. With swords. I told you it was going to be a monkey episode. For the most part, we can skip over most of these guys. They're not really going to be that much of a bother. What we want... Ow. Ow. Monkeys with guns, Jesus. And all the monkeys there, we can skip. Not particularly interested in that. Want to get to this sculptor. Yeah. Alright, so the Boddhisatva Valley, so named for all of the Buddhas, which are behind us. I know I kind of sped through that area. I will go back and explore it maybe at some point. There's nothing really that important there except for some of the monkey the monkey beer. Wine, the monkey wine. Which can lead to some interesting dialogue with Ishin, the sculptor, and Emma. As a general rule, I don't really need to talk with any of those, but there is an old Okasan right here. So we'll have a chat with her, and then it's time to watch me die for the next half an hour to the Guardian Ape. I hope you're ready and settled in.
蛇ガキはの2つあるぞえ。1つは生ガキ、1つは干しガキ。あっちじゃ。干しガキはあっちじゃ。毒沼を越えて巣穴に潜り込み、干しガキ盗んでくれようぞ。
干し柿、どういうことだ？
It's a good question.
はい、困りごとかい。しからばお米じゃぞい。お米じゃ。困りごとあるならばお米を恵んでくだされよ。
So, there's an interesting thing that is happening here. There's an Okasan here in the Boddhisatva Valley, and there's an Okasan at Senpou Temple. Both of them tell you about a fruit that you can get, and both of them request rice. So, once you've accessed the Divine Child, and the Divine Child gives you said rice, you can give them to the Okasans, and they share a little bit more information with you.
米だ。
おお、まさしく巫女様のお米。ありがたや、ありがたや。 し垣を欲するならば猿回し猿を踊らせ食らわせなされ。甘し
干し柿を欲するならば猿回し猿を踊らせ食らわせる、猿を踊らせるとは一体。
So it's a pretty good question, but if you remember, defeating the folding screen monkeys gave us the puppeteer ninjutsu, which when used on most enemies convert them into AI controlled. So yes, you can make the monkey dance. I'm not going to need to go down there straight away, since I'm ready for at least half an hour of torment against the Guardian Ape. So sit back and enjoy and watch me get beaten a lot. It should be fun. Right. So Guardian Ape is over there, below the Buddha, and beyond that is the flower. So, am I ready for this fight? Probably not. Will it be a fun fight? Probably yes. Alright, let's do this. And it fired on me. So this boss fight is actually really interesting. It's got a whole bunch of mechanics. So, remember how earlier I was saying maybe I needed to take a detour to the outskirts to pick up an item? That item was the loaded spear. And like I said earlier, this kind of trivializes the fight. I don't feel bad about using it because it's one of the few times this particular mechanic comes in really, really handy. There is only one other fight in which it comes handy. So, we'll select that, and we'll fight him with a sword now. As you can see, there is a centipede inside him. Roar causes terror, and if you're too close, you can die from it. It also hurts you. As you can see, the water shows you the radius of it. Now, too badly. Go. As you can see, it deals a whole lot of push damage. One more sequence to go. Nope. Right. That was pretty sweet. I may have oversold dying to it repeatedly. If you hear that roar, that is another fight that we get to do very, very soon. You know what? I had thought that that was going to go for longer, because this fight, historically, has not been my best at all. So, first try, not too bad. What are we doing? Got 15 minutes to go. Alright, so, memory, Guardian Ape. The battle memory of an extraordinary foe, lingering in the mind of the wolf. Commune with a sculptor's idol and confront memories of battle to permanently increase attack power. The Guardian Ape was defeated, though its roar can still be heard. It is said an infested body marks the Undying. So, what you've got there is a very definitive split between the two different theories of immortality in the game. Number one is the dragon's blood from the divine realm, which grants its users immortality, but at a cost. For every time you die, the dragon rot spreads. And then you've got a second, the corrupted tier, which comes from the centipedes, which you saw in the middle of the Guardian Ape, sustaining it, keeping it alive. If we go back to Senpou Temple, you'll see that many of the monks are also corrupted in the same sort of way, and the only way that you can defeat them is the mortal blade, because it severs immortality no matter which form it takes. So, like I said to you before, the spear does trivialize the fight, but it also exposes that there is a centipede at the heart keeping the Guardian Ape alive. And if you look at the grander scheme of the story up until this point, which technically speaking, has taken place over the course of the morning in Ashina. You can see that both Guardians, the headless monk and the Guardian Ape, are both headless. They're both corrupted, and they're both, as part of the fall of Ashina, the very kami themselves, the gods themselves, have been taken over by this corruptive force. So part of Sekiro's mission is also cleansing these kami and freeing them. So in a second we will use this memory, and then I think we will start get ready to finish the run through. I'm going to be totally honest, I did expect this fight to go a lot longer, and I'm sorry if some of you were hoping that I was going to die a lot more. Turns out I know the fight pretty well, even after a year and a half without playing. What the good news is, though, is that after this sequence we should get access to the Divine Realm, but before that we have a change in the castle, and that leads us to the first major plot development, which leads to one of the 4 endings. Not one that we'll be taking, but it is pretty interesting all the same. So we will accept this memory, and then we will get ready to go. So we've also received the Slender Finger. The slender finger of a young woman can be fitted to the shinobi prosthetic to create a prosthetic tool. Found in the belly of the Guardian Ape, it is partially digested. There is a shinobi technique called the finger whistle that can drive beast wild. The one who used it before clearly used it for this purpose, as evidenced by the finger's open hole, which is creepy and morbid, but also really, really interesting from a lore perspective, because that's the other thing that this game, and I love this game, one of the many reasons I love this game, is it deals with the karmic cycle. It's heavily hinted that the sculptor was Sekiro for a previous generation, and he's dealing with his failings. And the reappearance of the Slender Finger, among other items in the game, is meant to indicate that the cycle of immortality continues, and the major deviation of this particular storyline is that that cycle is broken. And it's really interesting to explore, and it's something I would probably explore more at in depth the closer we get to the end of the game. So yeah, I'd say that Monkey Madness was a success, all things considered. So what we will do is we will grab a save, and I'll start to finish up for the night. Okay, so we have one memory, which we are going to use to enhance our attack power. The Confront memory, Guardian Ape. The battle memory of an extraordinary foe. Although distant, recollection of such a memory provides sustenance for the wolf. They say that an invested body is the mark of the Undying, but such a long life would surely be quite lonesome, even for an ape. Perhaps the echoing roar of the Guardian Ape was in fact a solicitation of sorts, and it is in a very real way, and we will find that out in the next episode. So thank you everyone for joining. It's been quite a fun stream today. I again didn't expect to beat the boss so quickly. I did expect you to watch me suffer a little bit longer with it, but that's it. So what we will do is we will finish up. Get ready to go. So I want to thank you all for joining me. It's been lots of fun. Feels really good to be back into streaming again. I'm hoping to do it a little bit more as time permits around my gym and other life commitments. But no, I had a lot of fun. This was a really good stream, and I hope to see you all again. Cheers.